Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of JDM Masters. And today we are at Tomei Powered behind me here. And the name Tomei, I just want to talk a little bit about. The name Tomei comes from the Tomei Expressway, which is situated just right outside this headquarters. It is the central trunk road that runs from Tokyo all the way down to Osaka. Now, taken from the name, it's called Tomei Powered. We are going to go inside and check out the history and inside the workshop of one of Japan's oldest and probably best, most well-known JDM tuning company. Let's go. So this modern lookish building was established in 1994. It's located in Machida. Clean floors, very clean windows. Everything is just immaculate, just like the quality of the finish of their product. So let's go inside. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me, Sakurai-san.
No problem.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be here. And you know, Tomei is very well known and respected by JDM tuning fans around the world. And so it's a real pleasure to be here to take a look at your facility.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will show you the inside of the factory later.
Wonderful, wonderful. Can't wait. So there's just some display of items here. Can we have a look at them?
Oh, sure, of course.
We're just here now at the little display inside their office, and you can see here some of their parts. Tomei is really well known recently for specializing in titanium exhaust and intake parts. Now the workmanship of these titanium parts is just at a completely different level from many other smaller manufacturers, which we'll take a look at some of their technology processes in a moment. Looking over here, you can see all the trophies they've won. They've got different categories from classic cars to time attack, circuit, drag, Z Master. And these trophies just really show their prowess and high tuning ability in the world of motorsports. Now over here, this is a fully balanced crankshaft from a 2JZ Toyota inline-6 engine. I just want to draw your attention to this very, very beautiful and lightweight titanium intake pipe. This is for the CZ4A Lancer Evolution 10, and this is a new product that just came out. And over here we have something that is also often overlooked at, but essentially important in tuning. This is an oversized oil pan for the SR20 Nissan 4-cylinder engine. Now when it comes to turbo cars, you can do a lot of the engine tuning, but still, in order to get a high and reliable horsepower, you need to change the turbocharger. And there's a lot of selection out there from many different manufacturers around the world. Tomei actually has a wide range of their own specification and own design turbochargers called the ARMS. And we have here a lot of these on display, from small high response turbos to larger ones with larger ARs, and suited for a lot of classic JDM engines, ranging from the 4G63, 4B11, RB26, 1JZ, 2JZ, and also for the EJ20 and the VR38. A lot of them here. This is for RB26, and I like this one for the 4G63, and this you'll see on the legendary Genesis engines with the blue valve head cover, which we're going to check out later on.
Titanium, full titanium, the RB26 front pipe.
Front pipe?
You can see how the feel the light, the titanium.
Wow, it's super light. I can hold it with one hand.
Yes.
I don't think I can hold a stock one with one hand. So just a feature about this fully titanium Tomei front downpipe for the RB26. As you can see, the profile is really low, and it's equal length exhaust downpipe, which is intricately joined at the curves. And so it gives not only low weight, but you can have it put on a car that's been lowered without any problems and with full performance. And just check out this bit here, the collectors. You know, welding titanium is really, really difficult because you have to be careful of the high heat and also the joints. But they've somehow managed to make this just an automotive work of art. And we're going to see how later. Arigatou gozaimasu. About 25.
Hi, 25.
Not many people. It's a small company. It's specializing in engine tuning, and also engine overhaul. as well.
Overhaul and then tuning とそうですね R&D
R&D development, part sales. So Tomei sells off-the-shelf parts, but does Tomei accept orders for custom builds?
Sometimes.
I see.
Yes.
I see.
So like a special order, what the camshaft or what the stroker kit you want inside.
Right,
Yeah.
right. But Tomei does not do complete cars.
No, really this.
Right,
We only
right.
have like a race car, drift car, and a race car that we see later.
Right. So if a customer overseas wants a Tomei engine, how can they get one?
Usually what we do is please contact our dealer that have overseas.
I see. So if they want to overhaul their engine at Tomei Japan, they can have it sent to Japan through their dealers.
Usually yes.
Right. What are the biggest markets now for Tomei?
We will say like Australia.
Really, Australia.
Yes, still the strongest, especially for GTR market.
So the RB26, RB25, yeah.
STI to
STI. Right. 4G63 and EG20.
Australia.
And now we're going to go check out the engine building and tuning facility, which is located on the first floor of the building. And we'll be lucky and get to see some of their demo cars as well. So hidden right behind the building here, let's see what there is in store. There's a couple of Lancer Evolution 10s. I see a red GTR. It looks very familiar. I wonder whose car this is. Does it have a Tomei exhaust? Not yet. Oh my goodness. Just the coloring of this R35 GTR, which is Tomei's demo car, I believe. And over here, as you can see a sticker, it says 50th anniversary. Now the company actually started in 1968. A gentleman called Suzuki Seiichi. He was a racing driver and he started off with motorcycles and then later on started to develop parts with his brother. And they were one of the first Japanese engine constructors for the racing industry and later going into tuning. Now, in the 70s and the early 80s, it was the birth of the Japanese tuning industry, which is closely related to racing. And Tomei started out with the name Tomei Motors, and because their racing prowess was very highly regarded, they were invited to be like a semi-works team by Nissan themselves. And one of the first cars that they raced was a Nissan Sunny B110, which had a 4-cylinder 1.4 or 1.5 liter turbo FR. But that was their key first car. And later on, throughout the late 80s, many cars like the Supra and the RB series came out and started to be very popular into the 90s. That expanded engine building and still supplying to the race industry, but also for the tuning industry with many other different cars that it's well loved today. So the R35 demo car is equipped with their TI Racing titanium muffler, which is a catback system with a diameter of 100 millimeters, and it fits into the stock holes, and it's a 4 tailpipe. And we're just going to start the car and check out the sound. Now, obviously, this is a racing spec exhaust, and it's not actually really street legal, but it's designed for track use, and it can support up to 1,000 horsepower. The point of this exhaust is that it's a bolt-on straight system, and it supports a wide variety of tuning. But also, Tomei says that it's a little bit softer than typical straight-through type titanium pipes, and I think just listening to it really accentuates the natural sound of the VR38 DTT engine. It seems that this livery, this yellow color, is paying homage to the original Nissan Sunny race car, the B1111, which Sakurai-san is kindly showing us right now. Oh my goodness, Sakurai, is this the legendary car? It is the actual race car.
Actually, replica.
It's a replica. Wow.
でもやっぱりこう20年前の車だなっていうのはこうステアリングがねラック&ピリオンじゃないから直線でこうやって動かしても車が何も触れないっていう。
So this Nissan Sunny KB110 was introduced by Nissan in 1970, but this is a race car version that Tomei first raced. Now the stock car was equipped with a 1.2 liter engine, which in Nissan race cars had about 145 horsepower, but I was told by Sakurai-san that this car was stroked up to 1.3 and produced 170 horsepower at 10,000 RPM. It's just phenomenal. I mean, some cars, the modern days cars, struggle to reach that. And so here we have a Mark II Formula Drift demo car owned by the company, and like a lot of drift cars using the JZX chassis, it typically has a 1JZ or a 2JZ, but this is not your ordinary 2JZ engine. This is perhaps one of the biggest stroked 2JZ up to 3.6 liter, as what the number implies, developing 850 horsepower, obviously thanks to this huge snail-like truck-sized Garrett turbo.
You want to see this one as well, maybe? GT4.
It's a GT40. It's a replica. Oh,
Customized cars.
I see. The chassis dynamo for measuring horsepower, which is a very important part for determining and tuning cars for high horsepower applications. And just looking at this Ford GT replica, I mean, it's a classic American V8, and Tomei also takes services to repair and maintain and overhaul the engines of specialty race cars, which private owners have. And so this GT40 replica is undergoing some overhaul right now, and some of these
just for settings.
Just for settings?
Proper settings.
for proper settings, which is obviously very hard for a carburetor. It's a small company size, very, very focused and dedicated into refining those small little things. And on the walls here, these are soundproofing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But maybe after 9 o'clock, because we care about the neighbors,
Yes.
we finish.
So inside this door is the secret passage into like an Area 51 kind of like laboratory where they do engine tuning. I'm just gonna have a look. Already it kind of feels like I'm in some sort of secret research facility, but that's exactly what it feels like. It's exactly what it is. Wow! If you're a real car enthusiast and you love you have petrol running through your veins and oil circulating in your brain, I mean, just standing here around these legendary JDM engines in full tune form is just something that's once in a chance lifetime. And I'm absolutely honored and quite honestly flabbergasted every time to come here. I've seen these in tuning magazines way back in the 90s, the Genesis engine catalog for the 4G63 right here. So Lancer Evolution 4 to 9, 4-cylinder, 2-liter. They also have a stroker kit up to 2.2 and 2.3 liters. Attached with the ARMS turbocharger, this can develop in excess of 500 to 600 horsepower. Over here we have, I believe, is it EJ25, stroked up to 2.6 liters. It's really actually rare to find reliable tuning for Subaru EJ engines, and Tomei has done a lot of extensive research into various parts like the crankshaft, the pistons, and honing of the block, the suitable turbocharger in the flow, which they do in the engine test bedroom. It is a rare chance to have a close look at the boxer engine of a Subaru, or any boxer engine. You'll notice here, and they cut out how the timing belt is like a serpentine. It's really, really long, and it goes from one end to the other. The engine itself is flat, but it also needs a lot of ground clearance for the exhaust manifolds around it. And this is one of the most difficult parts of tuning and making an exhaust for a boxer engine. These bends have to be of equal length, which is really, really hard compared to an upright or V6 engine. And the runners are really long, so that exhaust flow going into the turbocharger, that's something that still they managed to really make like a work of art. And next to me is this, of course, what everyone knows really well. It's an RB26 inline 6 engine, 2.6 liters found in the Skyline R32 to R34. Wow. So the chief engineer just explained to me that this is the latest development of the RB26, which has a newly designed manifolds coupled with a modified TOMEI turbine, which interestingly uses the internals of the ball bearing of an IHI turbo for its high response and also better performance. So they've kind of combined that. But interestingly, this is the newest developed part. The downpipe, which formerly had a couple of little indents here in order to fit into the really tight Skyline GTR bay, but they've remodeled that for its better flow to support higher horsepower and response. And this is a new product that it will be releasing very soon. That meticulousness to small attention to detail with developing each part. In a way, it really is like how car manufacturers go to the lengths in developing engines. But don't forget, this is like a very small company, and that's just remarkable. そうかそうか、やっぱりツインターボはもうシングルと違ってこうもうイークアルフローがなかなか難しいですよね。はい。うん。それはなるべくこう同じの続けれるようにね。容積を。はいはいはい。So another very important part and often overlooked by people who want to tune their engines is the engine oil pan. Now this is the 3 oil pans I have in front of me. This is from the 80 Supra 2JZ, which has the oil pan some here in the center. This is from the 1JZ from the 100 Chaser in Mark II, and this is from the 161 Aristo. Now, these 3 oil pans are already really quite big, but what TOMEI and also a lot of other manufacturers have done is they create special baffle plates. But TOMEI's one is a little bit more special. Let's have a look. Now, oil pans from the factory do not have what is called baffle plates, and these are really, really important because, as you can see here, here's the oil collector. So this is upside down. The oil pan sits on the bottom side of the engine, and you have all the oil circulating around here in this little tub. Now, can you imagine if you're in a drift car and you're going sideways constantly, each and every corner, and there's like a couple of G's just making all that oil stick to the side of this? What happens is you get oil starvation, and oil starvation is really the last thing you want. An engine needs oil in order to keep the cooling and to circulate. If it runs out of oil, your engine just goes, it blows up, it goes kaput. So oil baffle plates are designed, and this is basically a box which keeps all the oil in the center. Now, TOMEI have even gone as far as to create these rubber valves, so it prevents all the oil from escaping. It's a one-way valve and prevents all the oil from escaping outside this little box. It's a bolt-on unit which suits for these 3 types of Toyota J Series engines. So I have here the chief engineer of TOMEI Powered. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
My name is Tomita.
Tomita. Yeah. Tomita-san. It's such a pleasure to have you here. I really, really like all the details that's put into TOMEI engines. Hiding behind the nice lady, we have... Oh my goodness! So this is an engine bench test facility. Something you'll find in car manufacturers when they develop engines. So a test bed is when you attach the engine to a huge dynamometer, and it has the coolant and oil running all over to extract the horsepower out, and also to do a lot of testing for small little parts. And for such a small company like TOMEI to have this sort of facility, which I've had for years, it's just shows their dedication to developing from the finest tuned engines in the JDM world. Now, attached to the engine is also the transmission with the propeller shaft, and this gives a very, very realistic power flow like it would in a real car. And then this coupled with the actual dynamometer, which we saw earlier on the rolling road, you can get a really realistic power flow, and to check that each part of that rev range in detail and fine-tuned. We're going to have a demonstration of the engine test bed. Let's have a look. On my left here is a FA20 engine from the GT86 and the BRZ. As you can see, it's quite different from the EJ20, the cams and couple of other things, but nothing like one of their classic SR20s, which I found hiding under the table. Why have you got a SR20 hiding under the table? Wow. An SR20 NA engine with individual throttle bodies, originally made by Tomei. Wow. And used in the S13, S14, 220 horsepower, peak horsepower. Oh, this is a FD2 K20A. We're already developing 220 over horsepower, so let's see how much more power they can get from this. It's another secret passage, and this is where engines and engine parts are washed. And a very important part of engine overhaul and building is actually the preparation, which involves cleaning. So, using things like the brush and the spray to carefully clean each part, because you want it to be free from contamination, grease, when you put all those little parts in. Small little things like this that make a lot of the difference in smoothness and horsepower and reliability. An EJ block undergoing the honing process. As you can see, the technician here is just carefully setting the engine block on the die, tightening it. Special equipment used to test the surface flatness. As you can see, the meter there with the gauge goes around the surface of the engine block. You want to keep that important compression in the engine block, in the combustion chamber, and so measuring the flatness to make sure that the block is usable and ready for tuning is one of the next most important process. I just want to point out that a lot of these machinery here looks really, really old. It's probably been used for about as long as the company's been set up, but there's some things that never change. Engine technology, electronic technology of cars, new parts get developed, but the important process of engine preparation, parts preparation, measurement has always been the same for decades and decades. And these machines have been here and doing the same work, and also the machines itself have to be maintained in top condition in order to make sure that the processes on the engine is always kept as accurate as possible. So there's really no big secrets, but just attention to detail. Now, besides the engine block itself, the next most important part to develop reliable horsepower for an engine is within the cylinder head. And one of the most important components are camshafts. Camshafts can really change the way an engine feels and behaves. So here is a measurement of the roundness of the camshaft.
100分の1ぐらい。一メモリが見づらいけど100分の1なんで。
はいはい。その針が動いてるから、完全に正確な丸いんじゃないということ。
これ今向こうに押してるんです。
So what the technician is doing now is actually making sure to correct the straightness of the camshaft. Now, after the camshaft has been cut out with the shapes, due to the manufacturing process, the camshaft itself is actually very, very slightly bent. And this process is actually to make it straight again. So he's using a micrometer to measure the roundness of the camshaft lobes in each part, and the press, which is made of aluminum, which is softer than the steel camshafts. And he just intricately, bit by bit, rotates it and to make sure that it becomes straight, a true straight shape again. So he's going to give a little demonstration of how the camshafts are manufactured. Obviously, for demonstration, he's just going to show basically how it's done. In real manufacturing, the cover has to be closed for grinding. In actual manufacturing, that grinder actually shaves off bits of the camshaft. This is a new machine which they've just got. It looks much more modern than that one with the color screen.
さっきのは350パイってでかいやつだったんだけど。
So the newer machine has a much smaller diameter grinder for more accuracy. もっとこう正確な形ができる。
カムシャフト。最近のロカーブのカムシャフトってこれ350パイなの。
Right. So the explanation is that using a more newer machine with a smaller diameter 100 millimeter grinder can actually grind out the inside of the rocker arms and modern engines, which is a lot more severe on the angle compared to the older machine, which is a huge 350 diameter one. So obviously one of the advantages of using newer production machinery, this is a Windows powered machine. It can contain the information of all of the different engines that Tomei manufactures. You can see 4G, 4AG, SR, and also it's not only just by engine but also by the actual model in which it's manufactured. You've got VQ, a lot of this, so it just saves a lot of time compared to the old machine where you have to put in programs from an external personal computer serial port into it. And all this just contains everything that's needed for manufacture. Guys, this is something that you will not be able to see anywhere on YouTube. To manufacture camshafts for tune engines, we're talking about tune engines, not mass production factory engines. You know, these are the kind of facilities that usually only automakers have. Guys, if any of you are buying one of these Tomei camshafts, you can rest assured of the high quality of build and accuracy through being made through this machine. So we have the finished product. I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but the side profile of this cam is not actually flat. It's a little bit indented, slightly indented. A 100 millimeter diameter grinder really can increase the accuracy of this shape. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you. Moving on to the next department, we have here the cylinder head building room. And Sakurai-san is here with us again, and we have... Oh, Sakurai-san.
ここはエンジンの組み立てる部屋ですね。
This is the engine assembly room. Aluminum oil pan, oversized oil pan for the that's A12 Sunny. From next year, these will be sold, and this is for classic car restoration and tuning as well. I really love the workmanship and finish of these aluminum oil pans. It's very light with huge capacity, and this is a right same baffle plate with the one-way rubber valves that will be installed inside. Intake and exhaust valves. Over here we have a crankshaft. We have various cylinder heads. The cylinder head of this inline six engine is very, very unique. It's very old in design, simply because there is a very special car in the Tomei powered workshop. And if you guys remember to watch the Nissan Heritage Museum video, this is the Prince R380 race car. Itself a very rare machine. The engine is being restored right here, and you can see here the Prince cylinder head written right here. Oh my goodness, this is such a rare opportunity, and it's just mind-blowing to see. And under this plastic cover is a 4-cylinder engine from the Mitsubishi Lancer Evolution 9 4G63. This is midway through the process of being transformed into a 2.2 liter Genesis here, and even on the engine block number, it says Tomei, inscribed with Tomei 4G63. Just beautiful. Is there a secret in building engines?
Always our engineer was keep saying that there's no so special secret. Just
Right.
to follow the manual, the proper manual to build. Nothing so special.
And that's very interesting because following the manual is actually very difficult.
Difficult. Sometimes yes, it's difficult.
Sometimes it's very difficult.
あとはベアリング、メタルクリアランスとかですね。
Yes, you're right. That's a myth in engine tuning. Well, if you have a tuned engine, it doesn't have a long life. But Tomei engines are a bit different. If you maintain them well, they can still have a long engine life.
Depend on the horsepower how the customer makes this. Sometimes the customer uses for like a drag racing or time attack for our Genesis. Then when we prepare, recommend to overhaul maybe 1 year or once the race finish.
Right,
on
right.
The street use, as long as the proper oil maintenance,
It's done, yeah.
it runs with like a same as a stock motors.
That's amazing. This is a Hollinger gearbox from Skyline GTR 32, 33, and 34.
ずっとやってる。
あ、そういうことか。
はい。
So Tomei also is the agent for Hollinger gearboxes for Japan. Okay, guys, so we're in the last section of our tour of the Tomei facility, and these pipes that I hold in my hand are titanium, extremely, extremely light. And this work table behind me is where they actually manufacture all of the titanium pipes for exhaust manifolds, mid pipes, and mufflers and everything. And you have to see just various lengths and pieces of, one of the most exotic materials used for the automotive industry. And titanium is really difficult to weld. The high temperatures needed, like a curved section together to form this one curved pipe, which in mass production, it's just crazy to maintain that consistency. Absolutely fantastic. More machines here, and here we have an almost complete set for the mufflers, and more different parts. Now this is what the joints look like before it's sealed together, something like that. So after it's manufactured and welded to the shape, it's cut, and two parts are then welded again to join together to make something that looks like this.
So this is the car, Nomura Ken's drift car.
Okay.
And then the car is here because we are going to the overhaul the engine.
Oh.
Next year D1 series.
So he loves using the ER34 4-door, right?
Yes.
But
inside is I don't know, depends. Sometimes people say it's a 2J.
it's a 2J Toyota engine.
Same the 2J 3.6 stroke.
My goodness. Toyota engine in a Skyline.
Because now the 2J is high potential and good, better strength.
Anyway, thank you, Sakurai-san, for inviting me.
Oh no, thank you very much. We hope more the viewer understand the Tomei technology, and then hope they enjoyed the video.
Yes. Click right here, Tomei-84 on Instagram, updated by Sakurai-san. You can also check their website here to check their products. And we'll be coming back here soon if there are new products. And it's been a really great review. Thank you guys. Peace out.